Alright, everybody. The other day we watched the newest biopic ever, Sweetwater. So, Aiden, what did you think of what's the plot of Sweetwater?
Sweetwater is a biopic about Nat Sweetwater Clifton, the first black man to play in the NBA. He plays on the Harlem Globetrotters, and then a bunch of good white people say, actually, I think racism is bad, and a bunch of bad white people say, actually, black people are bad. And then eventually he plays on the NBA. Kind of what you think of Sweetwater?
Sweetwater was poorly directed, poorly acted, and poorly written. The trifecta. This would be an interesting ESPN 30 for 30. I'm sure they've made one on this topic.
Certainly.
And I'm sure it's an amazingly interesting documentary. I love 30 for 30.
Yep.
But the double-edged sword with the 30 for 30 format is when they do sports biopics, a lot of the times it has me asking, why am I not just watching the 30 for 30? When I'm watching something that's terribly acted, terribly directed, and terribly produced.
This ain't
on
Air.
A shoestring budget.
This is not Air.
You know, some sports biopics are really well done and really interesting. Like we just talked about Air, and that's very interesting. Kind of deals with similar themes. Not really.
Not particularly.
People like taking a chance on an up-and-coming basketball star.
Yeah.
You know?
There's some similarities.
Our man Eric Roberts does show up, and he is a racist in this one. And he says the N-word with a hard R, and I feel like that's about all he does, except he threatens Sweetwater with a gun.
Yeah, and then once he realizes that they're good at basketball, he gets their autograph.
Yeah.
For some reason.
It doesn't entirely come off as well done. This movie has a lot of really awkward scenes.
Yeah.
Really badly acted. It looks cheap as hell. They're in Madison Square Garden for about half the movie. And there's like 3 sets in Madison Square Garden. The basketball court, which looks like a high school gymnasium.
Yep.
The staircase, which has the same numbering every time. Like half of the thing, half this movie takes place in one staircase.
Yep.
Like it was shot on the shoestring of shoestring budgets. And this was directed by, I don't remember the guy's name, but he did that Charlie Sheen 9/11 movie.
He has a funny ass name like Gui Gui or something. But
yeah, some white guy who wanted to make a white savior Oscar bait movie.
He made the Charlie Sheen 9/11 movie.
Clearly whoever put this out was like, this is not Oscar bait, this is shit. It's coming out in the early April.
It's
going double bill with Renfield.
All the way to the back of Theater 16.
It's gonna come out in a month with 20 other movies that are meant to bury this thing. We'll make $500,000 on this and use it as a tax write-off. That's what Lionsgate or whatever was saying. And it shows. It's garbage. It's crap. It's terrible.
Yep.
Like, you almost feel bad for giving it such a bad score, because you would think, like, just the concept is inherently interesting, like the first black NBA player, but it's just done so fucking poorly.
It is a real Lifetime core movie.
It is a Lifetime movie, except you gotta give more credit to the auteurs behind those damn Lifetime Christmas movies. You know, they get a formula and their entire job is to twist up the formula. Or they just suck, is the other option with Lifetime movies. But the fact that this came to theaters and is a Lifetime movie,
yeah, it's ridiculous.
Beats me. It kind of reminds me of like All Eyes on Me, which is the Lifetime version of Straight Outta Compton.
Yep.
They're like, Straight Outta Compton was well done and popular. Let's do that with Tupac, another popular rapper, more popular than the rap group NWA. But then you just do it like shit.
Yeah.
And this is like, we did like 42. We've done a million sports movies. Let's do an inspirational anti-racist sports movie with a white savior message. Old people will eat that shit up.
Yeah.
But it's been selling to empty auditoriums because nobody gives a shit. Because it's stupid, and it's bad, and it's poorly made, and nobody's advertising it because all of those things are...
Just make a 30 for 30 about it.
They probably have,
I'm sure.
That's probably why. The dude who directed this movie probably watched the 30 for 30 and said, I need to make a movie about this. And we'll have like some hokey scene where he's like a cab driver at the end, and he's like, sometimes my life was good, and sometimes Eric Roberts was racist. It sucked. It was really terrible. I don't even have anything to say because there's nothing to talk about. Really, it's just funny. Really poorly done.
Yeah.
The framing device is fairly funny. So Aiden, what did you think of
oh god, it's awful.
Sweetwater?
There's a lot of problems here. First, the movie is too long. It's like slightly under 2 hours.
Oh yeah.
This shit could have been fucking 80 minutes, but they are just filling time.
You feel the time.
It felt longer than 2 hours.
You really feel the runtime.
Once he got signed to the NBA, I was like, okay, this shit's almost over. And then it goes on for another hour. I thought it had already been 2.5 hours. It felt endless. Just dragged on and on. Everyone in this movie is just terrible. They're just terrible. Eric Roberts is funny. I burst out laughing at the scene where fucking Ari Gold from Entourage's kid comes home, and he's like, all the kids at school keep calling me an N-word lover. It's very, he just drops the hard R. They made that little kid just go for it.
Yeah, but he also, it was one of the worst line deliveries ever.
Oh no, it's
like
awful.
You're already kind of laughing about how bad it is, and then this kid plays with no emotion.
Yeah, he just drops it.
Like, you gotta have some level of emotion if you're gonna drop it. Like,
it's bad, man.
Like when you're having your white characters drop the N-word with the hard R, let's get some reason for it, you know.
It's bad.
Like
well, they wanted to make Ari Gold look good because Ari Gold is like, you can't say that word. It's very mean and bad. For a movie called Sweetwater, Sweetwater has no agency in this story or anything. He's good at basketball. And then a bunch of white people argue, and the good white people say racism bad, and the bad white people say racism good. And then he gets sold off to the NBA behind his back. And then at the NBA, everyone argues about whether he should be allowed to play. And then during the final sports scene, the basketball scene, the white people decide if he should be allowed to play or not. He has no agency in the story. He's barely a character. He's just a guy who's good at basketball. And the movie centrally focuses on the fucking random fucking white people arguing about whether he should be able to play or not. The basketball scenes are horrendously shot. In a sports biopic, you can like make cool action through fucking filming the sport. But all the sports scenes, all the basketball scenes are just the most flatly shot, plainly lit, boring shit in these fucking high school auditoriums. There's no energy or action or pacing. They're the most boring sports action scenes I've ever seen. It's ridiculously
I also like how all the
boring.
people playing basketball, except for Sweetwater, are like 60 years old.
Yeah, well, maybe that's how it was. I don't know. I wasn't there, but it is.
Right.
The whole movie is ridiculously boring outside of some really funny, awkward line reads from the racist characters. And my boy Eric Roberts showing up to drop some N-bombs.
Yeah, Eric Roberts was featured prominently in the trailer, so that's like half the reason I insisted we watch this, and I regret it.
It is a dreadful, overly long, boring, arguably racist, fucking Lifetime ass movie that somehow snuck its way into theaters. It is not fun to watch. Connor, I guess, as a formality, would you recommend Sweetwater, the worst biopic of all time?
No, I wouldn't. It was fucking horrendous. If they haven't made a 30 for 30 on this one, it's gotta be coming. So, wait for that. Otherwise, I'm sure there's like YouTube documentary. Somebody's had to have made something far more interesting, far more brief. Maybe even a film or documentary that gives more agency to Sweetwater. And less, thank God for white people, otherwise where would black people be?
Even if Sweetwater doesn't have agency in the real story, in a documentary, a person not having agency is just reality.
Well, spice it up.
In a biopic, the main character not having agency feels fucking ridiculous.
Spice it up. Let's see something about his personal life. Did he have a girlfriend? Can you make some drama around that?
He flirted with
2
the
hours
singer sometimes.
It's 2
and then
hours
she's just
long.
gone.
He had to have like.
He flirted with the white singer lady, and then she left the movie and didn't come back. And
Right. No, I just mean like give him something to do. Like some of these biopics will like take certain events and move them around to make the characters more interesting.
Yeah.
Like Straight Outta Compton's like mostly true, but mostly out of order, just like a remix of real life.
Yeah.
Which I mean isn't the best for historical accuracy, and this could have been the most historically fucking accurate movie ever, but if that's the case, it didn't make for a good movie. Add something. Maybe Sweetwater could be addicted to fucking cocaine and fuck a lot of hookers. I'm just throwing things out there. I'm just give something, you know? Add something that, you know, maybe demonizes, maybe he's fighting his demons. Maybe he has a rocky relationship.
We never get to see his early life either. The movie literally starts with him already being on the Harlem Globetrotters.
Well, there's like 2 seconds where his mom gives him water with a scoop of sugar in it, and it's like, you'll be known that your nickname is Sweetwater.
Yeah, but you'd think that there'd be like something about how he got into basketball, or like him and his father left his mom when he was a child to have a better life.
Everyone's like, he knows the game better than anybody alive.
How do you need to get us to the part where you show us a scene where he has to leave his mother for a better life with his father, and then it's just like,
yeah, there's nothing dramatic. Yeah, you could even moderately like have him like make the game-winning shot for his mom. Maybe he really misses his mom because he had to leave her. You know,
or
you
maybe,
can add agency to his character,
maybe,
and as a human being, there has to be more drama than what we got from Sweetwater in this movie. It's impossible that there was a human so devoid of anything interesting that is going on in his
all
life.
he did was play basketball.
Michael Phelps him. Maybe there's a controversy where he smokes marijuana one time. I don't know. Like, I'm just like trying to throw ideas out to actually add.
Even when the racist
something.
a racist guy attacks him with a pipe, and all that happens is he says, "No, it's fine. These things happen. I'm gonna play basketball anyway." And the movie moves
And then
on.
he goes to practice the next
done.
day, and you're like, "Oh, is he gonna be like limping at practice?" No, he's not. He's fine. The racist didn't hurt him at all. The movie just wanted to add runtime and be like, there be racists out there. They're out there.
There's not even anything It's not like he overcomes the expectations of the audience in the end. Like, the audience is
Right.
against him at first because he's black and he wins them over. Pretty much the second he starts playing, the audience loves him and the refs keep giving him fouls because he's black. And the audience goes boo because they already like him. And then they continue to like him. They continue to like him. He doesn't have to win him over. He's good at basketball.
He doesn't prove anything on the court.
He
Ends up winning the basketball game. Like they make a big comeback and he wins the basketball game, but like he didn't prove anything, you know.
It's so dumb. They just win.
It doesn't even really feel like Sweetwater's thing, because like the coach is like, Sweetwater, being that you're a black man, they'll give you a bunch of penalties, so just pass it to other people to win the basketball game.
Yeah, that's a really, like, maybe that's what actually happened, but the conclusion, when they put him back in the game after he gets all the fouls, he literally says, I'm black and that'll distract the other team, so you guys just play the game while I distract them with my blackness. And that's what they do. That is what they do.
And then
there's no twist on the formula.
He got a foul for a slam dunk, and that was like a big moment. And then he ends the game by slam dunking. And you'd think you could add some drama there. You could be like, oh, the refs are trying to decide, but ultimately the fans in the crowd, the NBA itself just got turned on its head because the fans accept that a slam dunk is totally legal. There ain't nothing like that in there. He just slam dunks, and this time it wasn't a bad deal. This time it wasn't a big deal. The refs just decided it wasn't a big deal.
It's so devoid of tension. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
So Aiden, as a formality, would you recommend Sweetwater?
No. If there's a 30 for 30 on Nat Sweetwater Clifton, watch that. Otherwise, this is not good. This is not.
Let's look this up. Is there a
not
Sweetwater
good.
30 for 30?
It's very stinky.